Greetings, curious souls and seekers of the strange. Welcome to number 11, where every letter opens a door to the unknown. Today, we've got an incredibly intense story that's going to leave you speechless. Imagine moving to a quiet town in Canada, only to find your new home haunted by shadowy figures and unexplained phenomena. This letter recounts those terrifying experiences in vivid detail. It's gripping, it's creepy, and it's all true. So, settle in and prepare yourself for one of the most chilling tales we've ever featured. Let's dive in. Dearest number 11, I never thought I'd be here sharing my story with you. For years I've kept these experiences locked away, hoping they would fade into obscurity. But recent events have forced my hand. They've started happening again, and I feel like I owe it to others to tell what happened. Maybe you've experienced something similar, or maybe this will just sound like a bad dream. Either way, this is my truth. It was the summer of 1993 when my family moved into the new house. My parents had been looking for a change, something fresh to mark a new beginning. My sister Emily and I were just kids back then. She was 12 and I was 14. We didn't know much about the house's history. It was just an old two-story place on the outskirts of Wolfville, Nova Scotia. Our previous home was in a bustling neighbourhood in Halifax, about an hour's drive away. The transition from city life to the quiet, historic town of Wolfville was jarring, but we were hopeful. The first few days were uneventful, spent unpacking boxes and settling into our new routines. But it didn't take long before strange things started happening. It began subtly. Misplaced items, odd noises at night. We chalked it up to the unfamiliarity of the new house. But then things escalated. One night, Emily woke me up. Her face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "I saw something in my room," she whispered, her voice trembling. She described a shadowy figure standing in the corner, just watching her. I laughed it off, trying to comfort her, telling her it was probably just her imagination. But deep down, I felt a chill, because I had seen something too. I remember I didn't sleep much that night, and neither did Emily. The next day, our parents dismissed our concerns, attributing them to the stress of the move. But the shadows didn't go away. In fact, they seemed to grow bolder. I would catch glimpses of them out of the corner of my eye, darting around the edges of the room. Emily would often wake up screaming, convinced that someone or something was in her room. Then came the poltergeist activity. Objects would move on their own, books falling off shelves, chairs sliding across the floor. One night, we heard a loud crash in the kitchen. We rushed downstairs to find all the cabinet doors wide open, their contents strewn across the floor. My parents couldn't ignore it anymore. They were terrified, but they didn't know what to do. One evening, we were sitting in the living room when the lights started flickering. The temperature dropped and we could all see our breath. Suddenly, a heavy wooden chair flew across the room, crashing into the wall. We all jumped up, hearts pounding. My mother grabbed us and we huddled together, unsure of what to do next. The shadows seemed to close in around us, dark and menacing. We called in a priest from the local parish to bless the house shortly after that. For a while, it seemed to work. The activity died down and we started to relax. But it didn't last. The shadows came back, more persistent and malevolent than ever. Emily became withdrawn around this time, hardly speaking. I tried to stay strong for her, but I was just as scared. The final straw came one night when I woke up to find Emily standing at the foot of my bed. Her eyes looked blank and empty. She was murmuring something I couldn't understand. Absolute nonsense, but extremely frightening at the same time. I reached out to touch her, and she suddenly snapped out of it, looking around in confusion. She didn't remember how she got there, and to this day she still doesn't. We left. My parents sold the house soon after. We moved to a different town, this time to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. For years we tried to forget what happened. But how do you forget something like that? How do you move on when the shadows of your past keep creeping into your present? Now, decades later, it's happening again. I see them in my home, feel their presence when I'm alone. Emily and I have spoken about it, and she's experiencing the same things. Whatever it is, it's not finished with us. This is just the beginning of my story, and when the time comes, I'll write down some more of my experiences. There's more to tell, much more. But for now, I'll leave your viewers with this warning. When you move to a new house, pay attention to the shadows. Sometimes they're more than just tricks of the light. Sometimes they're watching you, waiting for the right moment to make themselves known. Please know you are not alone. You're not going mad. These things really do exist. For those of you who've been following my channel, you know I've read countless stories about paranormal experiences, but this one really stands out. I truly cannot wait to hear more from this individual. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It takes a lot of courage to open up about something so personal and terrifying. The move from Halifax to Wolfville, Nova Scotia, and then experiencing such extreme phenomena must have been incredibly hard, especially as a teenager. When you mentioned the shadowy figures watching you and your sister Emily, I felt a chill. Shadow figures are a common theme in paranormal encounters, but the persistence and malevolence you described are truly alarming. Your account of the poltergeist activity with objects moving on their own and that heavy wooden chair flying across the room really struck me. It's not every day that we hear about such violent manifestations. Emily standing at the foot of your bed, murmuring nonsense with blank eyes. Honestly, that's straight out of a horror movie. The fact that she didn't remember any of it the next day makes it even more unsettling. For the viewers out there, what do you think happened to the writer of this letter? Do you think it was a haunted house and a lingering spirit, or something else entirely? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. I do read and reply to every single one. And remember, if you have your own paranormal experiences you'd like to share, please send them to the email address found in the About section of this channel. Your story could be featured in an upcoming video. Thank you for tuning in. Until next we meet, keep your eyes open and remember, when the lights dim and the shadows lengthen, don't look away. You never know what might be staring back at you. Good night and farewell.